think that Black Americans are not good people? You think that Black Americans are the worst creatures on earth? Watch this video and I'll be back with commentaries because a lot of immigrants actually came out to say, thank you, Black Americans, for having our backs. Let's get right into this video and I'll be back with commentaries.
As an African woman living in the United States, I have never experienced prejudice from Black Americans or African Americans, however you call yourself. Never. I came to this country and I was embraced and welcomed by them. They love me. I love them back. Like, I found my people, for real. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I found my people because they're really open-minded compared to Africans. And I've always been a very open-minded person, like very, very open-minded person. And I just feel like I didn't fit there. I didn't fit with y'all Africans. I love us though. I love us so much. Like, I love my roots. I love where I come from. But I can just with y'all to a certain extent because certain conversations I can't have with y'all because y'all too prejudiced about things. You know what I mean? Y'all not open-minded enough for me, at least. But y'all come here in the United States with preconceived notions already. All y'all have to say about Black people in America is they're ghetto, they're this, they're that. Yeah, they might be a little ghetto, just like y'all a little ghetto over there too. Y'all need to stop acting like there's no ghetto people over there. There are ghetto people in Africa. There are ghetto people, African ghetto people in Europe as well. I come from Europe. I was born and raised in Europe. There are ghetto people all around the world.
If it wasn't for Black Americans, I, as an African person, wouldn't have the opportunities that I have today in America. So I keep seeing a lot of these comments about how Black Americans relate to my statement about Nigerians don't actually care about Nigerians. They only care about being wealthy to show off to underprivileged Nigerians. That's not how Black Americans operate. Like, I grew up in Nigeria and Black America. The one thing I will tell you about Black Americans, you see how they're into government. They build up their intellect to get into government to try to do better and support their communities, and they fight to support their communities. If you look at how far in 400 years, 500 years, what African Americans have done and the level of they made life, it's not completely equal, but Black Americans have done a good job of fighting for the rights of their fellow Black Americans to have a better life in America. If it wasn't for Black Americans, I, as an African person, wouldn't have the opportunities that I have today in America. If it wasn't for Black Americans, I wouldn't have the opportunities I have today. So I can't really say that because Black Americans may have their issues, but they have a better sense of community than Africans. I can say for Nigerians, they have a better sense of community and they enjoy communal, like making sure, I'm not saying that they do it perfectly, but you can tell that they put up a fight for their community. They put up a fight for their community more than Nigerians. Sorry, it hurts, but that's the truth.
Dear Black American women, thank you. Thank you so much for just always showing up and just being at the forefront of what's right and for change and for justice and just always being there for others. People can say whatever they want. People can get mad and upset. The fact that you all are tired, that you don't want to try anymore, that you just are done. Especially when it comes to Gaza and pro-Palestinians. You tried helping when you could, and you were able to, but it wasn't good enough, it was performative, it wasn't enough. And finally, when it was time that you needed others to show up for you and for themselves too, actually, in the long run, they didn't show up. No one showed up. And now that the elections are over, people are coming to you, expecting for comfort, expecting to, what are we going to do? Or, oh, well, like, let's keep going, fighting other rights and everything, other things that are going on in the world. You're done. You're tired. You're exhausted. It just wasn't good enough. No matter what you did, was never good enough. And even when you have the most qualified, overqualified candidate who expressed humanity and love throughout her very short campaign, mind you, she only had 3 months to do this all. always try to follow justice, speak for the voiceless, and yet always had to be held responsible at a higher standard due to the doings of men. Mind you, Harris is a vice president. She doesn't come up with policies. She just has to uphold them. She is a vice president. But anyways, she gave it her all. You gave it your all. You showed up in numbers at the voting poll. Wasn't enough. Wasn't enough to have her win, because some people chose to be undecided still, not vote at all, vote for Trump out of spite, vote for thinks Trump is better. They think he was better. Whatever their decision is, this is the outcome. This is the result that they need to live with. You're all done here. You don't need to fight for us anymore. You're tired. You need to fight for yourselves and for your peace of mind and for your own well-being. You're done. I get it. You have every right to be. You have every right to be done. You need your rest because you need to refill your own cup. You need to save yourself because no one's going to save you. Well, I'm tired for watching you all just bear that burden every time and just rest. Let us take it on. Let me and hopefully any other Asian Americans, since I look like, I'm Asian American, born here and raised, but let our sisters rest. It is time for the rest of us to carry that torch and let her rest. Let them rest. Let Black Americans rest. They're tired. They're done. Especially Black American women. Enough. Let them rest. Say, hate all you want, this video all you want, to anyone who hates this video. I don't care. No fucks to give. No fucks to give. Say what you want to say. But everyone deserves to preserve their own mental well-being. Because how can you possibly help others when you yourself is being oppressed or being forgotten or not being helped at all when you need help? And Black American women, Black Americans especially, know the feeling of being oppressed. Their entire history, American history, has been ingrained in slavery since they've been taken over here against their will. And they made use of themselves, and they've been battling discrimination and segregation, everything, and racism till this very day in the 21st century, year 2024. So if they say they're tired, they're tired. Let them rest. Let them be. Let them do whatever they want. They don't want to fight anymore. I don't blame them. I'm like, what do you expect? What did we all expect? It is what it is. But I'm going to do my best to just maintain strength, but also take care of myself. Everyone take care of yourself. All this doom scrolling and everything, we, at the end of the day, have to love ourselves, love one another, but most importantly, love ourselves and take care of us. Because all this fighting, all this bickering amongst each other, it's not helping anybody. But thank you, especially to Black American women. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. I'm sorry we, whole as America, have let you down. Once again. Rest today, and I will continue to fight for love and justice and fairness for all, for everyone, for the goodness of all. I'll fight to continue to live another day. Thank you.
Here's my honest opinion about Black Americans. Ever since I came to America, people have been asking me back home, in Europe, in places I've lived before, how is America? How are Americans? How are Black Americans? And I'm so grateful to God that I have a platform where I can connect with people from all over the world. And one of those people are Black Americans. I have a Facebook page of over 100,000 followers. Let me show you. This is my Facebook page, 104K followers, and half of the followers on this page are Black Americans. Let's continue. If you want to follow, you can follow. First of all, as an African, Black Americans are completely different from Africans. The only thing we have in common is the black skin. The black skin. Black Americans, they are one of the realest people. I'm not saying this to impress nobody. Most of you know me. I'm very raw. I say things the way they are. I don't look at people's faces. I don't care. I say it the way they are. You know me. I don't sugarcoat anybody. No one gives me a dime. Black Americans are one of the realest people you can find out here. And it's so sad because people don't say this often. Let me explain. Black Americans don't know how to gossip others. Black Americans, Africans, we are skilled gossipers. Both the male and the female. Couples are the worst. Couples will gossip the entire street. They will even gossip street signs. Street light. They'll tell you this street light, last night it was shining, this morning it wasn't shining. When Africans leave church, After the mass, they won't go home. Most of them hang around the church premises, discussing about the pastor's wife, what she wore today in church, discussing about another sister in the choir's week. The week she wore was so bad, discussing how this one got pregnant and now they are looking small. Oh, I think they are bored. Africans, those are our best things to do. Black Americans don't have time for that. They don't do that. They don't care. Like, I have at least 5 of them, different friends. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time. It ain't my business. It ain't my business. I'm on my business. I'm on my business. That's how they talk. You know, they talk a little faster. You know, they have this accent. I'm on my business. I'm on my... I ain't got time for that shit. I don't want to say it. I ain't got time for that shit. That's how I'm looking at them. Real people. Africans and gluttony, selfishness here. Africans, if they had their way, they want to do all the jobs in Baltimore, Silver Spring, Washington, D.C., Virginia at the same time. If they could do 60-hour shift, they will do it. How many black Americans do you see working 20 hours? 16 hours? They do, but very few of them. But Africans, whoa, gluttony. Here, it's here. Here. I say here. Here. Selfishness. Black Americans want to eat their own and give your own. In some places where you work, they even give you tips. They are the ones that give these tips. If you go to bars, Africans here in America, if you are a server, they don't pay you much money. You make your money from clients. Do you know that? Like, Americans, they go and they pay you money. Like, you buy your food. After buying your food and drink, Americans, black Americans, they give you extra money. They give you like $10 for free. They say, baby, keep this. Some even give you like $15, $20. Did you know that? Africans don't give tips. Wow! They don't give tips, not tips. Wow! 1 penny. Nothing. Africans don't. If you see an African client, say, hoping that they'll give you tips. Honey, take on your heels. Black Africans in most places in America, when you meet them in a job, immediately they start hating on you. They want to, start gossiping your name to the manager, and you this and you that. They just want you out. Black Americans are not like that. Black Americans are very selfless. They want to have their own. They want you to have your own. Black Americans, they don't care how many vehicles you have, how many houses you have. That's your business. Africans, once you start making money and buying new cars, building houses, the jealousy enters. Before you know it, they start poisoning people. Because that's what we do. At least in people from my country, Cameroon, that's what they do. All over my country, people go around with poisons. And when they drink, back home, I don't know if it happens in the States, but back home, in Africa, it's common. You drink with someone and they are doing better in life than you. You touch their glass, you put some snake, the bile, the snake water inside, and they drink and they die. That's what's happening, let's be honest. Yeah, Americans don't have time for that. Black Americans, they go for their own. They are contented. They are happy. Sometimes they don't even make much, but they still go to charity. They still go out, eat, and give tips. Very nice people to hang out with. I'm telling you guys, like, if you want to have like a true friend, find a black American here in America. Africans, in most cases, will literally, even if they help you, they will rub it on your face. If you have a way to avoid an African as a friend, avoid them. Most Africans, some are real ones, like Nigerians. Those are real people. Yeah, those are real Africans. You can rock with those ones. But the rest, most of the time, when you see black Americans react in a certain way, know they have been triggered. They've been taught how to defend themselves. They know because they know they have no one to help them. Maybe sometimes, I don't know, they always say, I don't want to talk too much, but then they have to protect themselves. Yeah, they are so real. Go closer to black Americans, see the way they react. Some of you are in America for the past 10 years. You've never tasted mac and cheese. You've never tasted black American meals. The one I posted, the cornbread, it's not cornbread, you guys. They call it French toast. The one I posted in the previous video, it's not cornbread. Black Americans said cornbread is different. They said, I've never tasted cornbread. Hopefully I'll try it one day. But that one is not cornbread. They said it's French toast. Even though it smells nice, it's French toast. Some of you have never had mac and cheese. Some of you have never dined with black people, black Americans. Because their circle is too small. They reach your energy from a distance. They can smell you. They know, before you even approach them, they know who you are. Even if you've lived in America for the past 20 years, 30 years, as you open your mouth and say, how are you? Oh, boo, you got an accent. Where you from? Where you from? You good? Have a good one. Have a good one. Have a good one. very nice people. You guys remember when I had that issue with my landlady who would turn off the AC while there was heat wave, who opened my mails, who opened my... If you don't know, go on my Facebook page and check those videos. I recorded everything. And then who would ask me to pay $100 to print a new key, that she kept my old key, and she took me to court and I won. During that period, my Black American followers, they were behind me. When the police came and asked me to leave the house, they were checking up on me. I mean, every minute, every second. How you doing? Well, these people don't know me. They just saw me on social media. Selfless humans. Selfless. If you want to hear selfless, Black Americans are very selfless people. They don't look for trouble. A Black American will never ever start insulting you for no reason. Start doing something bad. If they react a certain way, someone did something to them and they want to show you who they are. They want to make you understand that don't try this to them next time. They want to correct you, and they also want to leave a lesson and a message so you can pass across. That's why sometimes when they are angry, they make sure they correct you and they give you a message so you can give around to your...
Black Americans, I so much love you guys. Mwah. You people should start then you're posting your shoulder now, because a lot of people are coming out to say, you guys are sweet, you guys are good. Let's continue. I'll be back with commentaries.
And I did not know Mexicans can be racist. I'm going to blame this on my dad. See, my dad is a dark-skinned Mexican who came into the United States in the 1980s. And whenever you ask him about his experience with black people, he will tell you that one of his first American friends was a black person who showed him nothing but love and kindness. To this day, he speaks on how he remembers that man grabbing a cardboard box, going to the corner of the street, and break dancing. He talks about how he remembers every weekend that black man would be cooking, barbecuing. And those are core memories for my dad. I grew up in a predominantly Mexican town outside of Fresno. None of those kids that I would go to school with would ever talk ill about black people. I didn't know the slurs for black people until I think I was a teenager. So I was pretty oblivious to racism from the Mexicans to the blacks. Many Mexicans were colorist and classist because I saw Mexicans be colorist to my father, who's a dark-skinned Mexican. I didn't know racism. I was about 15, 16 years old when I was watching George Lopez do a comedy show, and I was watching it with my dad. And in his show, George Lopez says that Mexican parents do not let their children date black people. And I look at my dad like, what? I was like, Dad, would you not let me? And my dad was just as confused. He was like, what? I've never even thought about that. My dad's friends would never say stuff like that either. So I was mind blown as to like, okay, why would George Lopez say that? And it wasn't until I got older that I realized that major cities like Los Angeles and Chicago are super racist within the communities. And there's a lot of rivalry within the communities. And I am working on a series to educate on why there's rivalry and division within the communities, especially in the big cities. Back to what I was talking about. I was also very oblivious to racism in Mexico because the parts of Mexico that my dad is from, we literally have Afro-Mex there. Sambos, Lobos, indigenous Mexicans mixed with African. But I didn't know that there was such thing as African ancestry up until recently. I just thought we got colonized by Spain. We were mixed with Spanish. But again, because of where my family's from in Mexico, I didn't know about racism. And I stood strong saying that Mexicans in Mexico were not racist. They can be colorist and classist, but racism, you will see racism in Mexico where it's predominantly Spaniard Mexicans. And up until recently, we didn't acknowledge our Afro-Mex, and we didn't call them Afro-Mex, we just called them Mexican. It wasn't until there was a genocide happening around Mexico City where a lot of Africans were being killed, and these are Afro-Mex. That brought awareness to other people in Mexico and in the United States about our Afro-Mex. That's when many of us were just like, oh crap, we have African ancestry. And later on, we found out that indigenous people mixed with African people are called Sambos and Lobos. That's when the census started counting Afro-Mex. With that, a can of worms opened. As Mexicans, we started exploring more of who we were, and thus we're going through an identity crisis right now in Mexico. Because we're going through an identity crisis in Mexico, the Mexicans in the United States are still not letting go of that internalized racism that was drilled into their head by Spaniards. I didn't experience racism from black people up until recently. See, a long time ago, I started beauty school. That's when I started being around black people. I never once did I experience racism from them. When I enlisted in the military, I was around a lot of black people. I never experienced racism from any of them. Recently, I had my third child with an African man. And I mean African, like he's straight from Africa. And I started getting hate from black women. These women started telling my baby daddy that he needed to keep the blood pure and that he was disgusting for mixing with a Mexican. And there was black women coming at me, telling me that I stole their man. And yes, I also had Mexicans telling me the same thing. I was being told that I was gross for mixing. These are coming from the same self-hating Mexicans who don't even know who they are. But anyways, that's when I first started experiencing racism from black people. Even then, my encounters have been limited. Then opening up TikTok and seeing how black people are speaking about their experiences, backing up their experiences from Latinos being racist, I couldn't believe that Mexicans were racist because of the way I was raised. I was so oblivious because of the way my father educated me, because my dad was all about love, respect, community and culture. You know why my dad always had that mentality? Because my dad always knew who he was. He knew his indigenous roots and he knew his ancestry. My dad educated me. That's the best wealth anybody can teach you, is your ancestry, your family tree, your family history. Going back to Mexico this year, understanding my ancestry, not just as a native Mexican, but now knowing that we have African ancestry in the part of Mexico that my family's from, and knowing the beauty of how we all mix. The natives where my father is from, when Cortez and his men showed up back in the 1600s, saw all the slaves that they had, and those indigenous people helped free the slaves and fled with them to the Sierra Madres. And thus how we mixed. That is history that my father has been able to pass down to me. For the past few years, I've asked myself, what if Mexicans knew who we really were, stopped our colorism, stopped hating our own indigenous people for being dark, learned our true ancestry, accepted the fact that in the history of Mexicanos, when communities unite, we are not conquered. Divided, we stay conquered. And thus I started spreading what I speak on my TikTok, calling out all communities, not just the Latinos. I get hate from all communities, but my mission is for people to be hungry enough to seek their history and ancestry and educate themselves. Because when you know where you come from, you stop hating the part that you don't know who you were. And when you stop hating the part that you don't know who you were, you stopped hating other communities. And you realize that we're communities and not a community, because that is how our oppressor.
As you've lived in America for some time, you will not understand why Black Americans move the way that they do. And I'm saying this as a non-Black American who's lived in America for quite some time. Because prior to moving to America, I was a similar way. I was like, what is this emphasis on race? Like, it's not that deep. Let it go. Right? Because I'm going off of my lived experience, right? And visiting a place is not the same as living in a place, you know? I'm going off my lived experience of different cultures coming together, being in harmony, etc., blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I don't know what this great, division is, because again, my experience is different. But telling somebody who has that lived experience that, well, it's not valid, because your lived experience is different, is going to be quite invalidating. So, and I say for some time specifically, because you can live here maybe like 6 months, a year, and you haven't experienced anything, right? And outside of the US, you have to understand that what you're seeing is a very curated experience in the media. Granted, with the rise of social media, we're opening a lot more doors, right? But we could even see like what's going on now with Black Americans and Black Scots. To me, it's jolly. I loved it. I've loved seeing it. And people are like, they didn't know Black Americans knew Black Scots existed. We're in every part of the world, right? But it's just exciting to see people that, even me as a Caribbean person, I was like, oh, this is exciting. Seeing an accent on a different face, than what you would think for that region. It's something exciting. It's something fun. But people are using it to almost make like Americans seem dumb or whatever. But unless you've lived here, then you start to be like, yeah, they're white people. They're a little bit different than my white people. They're a little different than those other white people over there. You know what I'm saying? Because I had never thought about, and I've talked about this before, I've never thought about being Black until I moved to America. It's not a thought that crossed my mind because I'm from a majority Black country. So it's not a thought that's going to cross my mind, and I'm not experiencing racism in my country, in a majority Black country. But I experienced it here. I'll tell you that for sure. So unless you've lived here, unless you've had that experience, unless you know the cultural significance of slavery, which as a Black person in every country you should, but it's different. Even though we all experience it, we experience different types. And the slavery in America specifically was like the worst form of slavery, because you broke down the person down to their core, stripped them of their culture, etc. Whereas in other regions we didn't have that. We maintained quite a bit of our culture, and Africa and Caribbean, etc. So we still had that to hold on to. But here it was almost stripped away entirely down to the core, right? So identity is a very big thing in America in a different way that it is for us in the Caribbean, right? So I would say sometimes you don't have to be a part of every conversation. Sometimes you just sit back and watch. And can we please get rid of this diaspora war? Black people from all the world, we're different. Every Black person's not the same, but we all have some of the same lived experiences, okay? But the diaspora wars are tired. They are tired. They're exhausting. But what's crazy is like when you have people of different culture living in the same place, it's all Gucci. It's when we seem to be in different regions of the world, it can't click. It's not clicking too good.
Black American traveling, there is American privilege. I saw a couple people having conversations about American privilege, and I wanted to add to it, right? Because I had my first blatant experience with American privilege that was so blatant that I was kind of surprised. Like, I knew the reason why it was happening. I was just surprised how blatant it was. So this is when I went to Thailand, right? There was this club that I kept going to. I kept going to the club, supporting the DJ, giving out tips, and there was this lady there, and she just seemed to be put off by me. She just was giving an energy that was very, very unusual. And I don't expect all Thai people to be like friendly and stuff. That's fine. But you can tell when somebody is kind of like, kind of sees you as a pest. And for me, it was off-putting because I was supporting, I was supporting the shop. So I was wondering to myself, like, what is going on? And I ended up spending a lot more time at this place because I really enjoyed the music and I would chat with the staff. I took a liking to one of the guys. You know how they have the guys holding the menu that ask you to come in? He was very cute. So I took a liking to him and I ended up coming back to the place over and over and over again. And eventually I made it to a point where I was in a conversation with her. Like, I went into the building to use the restroom. I came out, she was at the counter, and I was asking her some questions because I was trying to find rock venues to go to. I was trying to find where like the rock spots were in Thailand. And I was telling her that I can't seem to find any. And she was like, oh, well, I like rock music as well. And these are places that are very difficult to find because the heavy rock that you're looking for isn't really easy to find here. And I was like, oh, back home in the States. And as soon as I said back home in the States, I saw her whole expression change. It was like day and night. She was like, States? She was like, you're American? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, brightest smile, complete energy shift, complete. And it was so potent, so potent. And I did not have any weird vibes or issues from her. It didn't matter whether I had money to give or not. It was a complete shift in energy. And me and her talked for a while. And what I came to realize, listening to some other people talk about Bangkok, is that there are some issues that the country has, some of the people in the country have with African people. So most likely, she thought I was a lady of the night. As soon as she switched up, I knew it was because she was discovering I was American. I just didn't understand why me being something other than American, specifically African, was such a reason to be put off and get away from me. Like, why are you here? Like, ugh. I see things here and there in certain countries, mostly people feeling like you're rich, trying to sell to you when they find out that you're American. But as far as like treatment, day and night, I saw the switch go right on. It's very unfortunate because I know it's a Black American thing. When I see African people overseas, I consider them kinfolk. Like, I consider them my people, right? Even if they don't always feel the same. So I always get excited when I see people from African countries overseas, right? I saw a woman in Tanzania when I went there. I was walking around. I was somewhere in Bangkok. I don't remember where I was, but she was so beautiful. She was like tall and skinny, and she had like a natural afro, and she gave me the brightest smile. And I was like, hi, oh my God, where are you from? She was like, Tanzania, with her accent. But she was giving me the I like women eyes. So I was like, oh my God, hi, okay, here we go now. I know that look. I know the look of I like women. I don't feel the same way, but she was beautiful. And I got to talk to some Ghanaian brothers. I'm always being treated pretty well by Black Africans when I travel overseas. Usually the area where it's really weird is Black people from the UK. It's always a very weird interaction. But now that I know more about the history and like the back and forth, I get it.
If you're really committed to being a racist in this country, you can't unsee what I'm about to show you. You might want to start checking Amazons for blankets, because this gas furnace behind me, you don't get to have one of those either, because that was invented by a Black woman named Alice Parker around 1920. She received a patent on it. Yeah, that's how we stay warm today. I mean, if you love potato chips, they gotta go, because a man named George Crumb, a chef in New York, had sent French fries out with a meal and a customer complained. So what did Mr. Crumb do? He sliced potatoes so thin, fried them up, dumped a bunch of salt on them, and sent them out. And that is the American delight of potato chips. They gotta go. Here in the bathroom, Lotta Newman patented the first hairbrush with synthetic bristles in 1898, and she's just the third Black American woman to ever receive a patent. And I know this isn't going to affect those skinheads very much. In 1892, George Sampson of Dayton, Ohio, received patent number 476,416 for what is the forerunner of the modern dryer we use today. It's going to suck dry on your clothes outside. In the late 1880s, Samuel Scottron of Pennsylvania patented the curtain rod. Ooh, that's going to piss off some white girls. It's going to be really hard to plan racist rallies without a color monitor. Invented by Mark Dean, an engineer at IBM, he is also on 3 of the original 9 patents of the IBM PC that came out in 1981. Did you know in 1897, Albert Crowell in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, developed the mechanized ice cream scoop? You know, the click, click that separates the ice cream from the spoon, changing the way ice cream is served. And if you're racist and an ice cream lover, it's going to get worse. I told you it's going to get worse. Augustus Jackson, the father of ice cream, pioneered many of the methods we have today to enjoy ice cream, including the way we salt it. Another thing about being a racist, you're going to have to give up the freezer and frozen foods, because Frederick McKinley Jones of Ohio, who was orphaned at 9 years old with a 6th grade education, a young biracial boy, grew up to invent Thermo King, which is the reason why we have frozen foods that are shipped and stored in stores and our homes. You got to give up ice cream and frozen pizzas? So if you still want to be a racist, there are some things you're going to need to purge from your life. If you would, just put it out on the curb. I'll send some trucks around to pick it up, and we'll go give it to real Americans who really need it.
You see that a lot of people are coming out to express what they have personally been able to see from the hands of these Black American people. They are nice, they are sweet, right? Let's continue this video. I'll be back with commentaries. Credit belongs to original creators of these videos.
Experience dating a Black American in the US. First of all, he assumed that he knew me because I'm Nigerian. There was no curiosity on his part to know me as a person. Secondly, he expected traditional roles, whatever that means. He expected me to be a traditional woman. So context, I love to keep my house clean, and he expected me to do the same thing when I come to his house. Like, if you really wanted your house cleaner than it is, why don't you clean it yourself? That's how you show me what your expectations are, by doing it yourself. And so what most people fail to realize when they expect a traditional woman is that it comes at a cost. Can you afford it? You want to go 50-50 and still expect a traditional woman? That's not going to work. No.
To immigrants married to Americans.
See ya go wa. Yes. See ya go wa. Okay, so I'm gonna speak from my perspective as an immigrant who is married to a Black American. Uyabona, what makes it difficult being married to a Black American is that Black Americans don't have tribes. Okay, so I'm from the African continent. I'm from South Africa specifically, and we have tribes: Zulu, Pedi, Ndebele, Xhosa, you name it. And each tribe has got unique characteristics that separate them from other tribes. Okay, so that makes it easier. If you are marrying someone from a particular tribe, you already know, okay, that people from that particular tribe, okay, tend to have these characteristics. I mean, it's not always true all the time, but it gives you some idea of the type of person they are based on the type of tribe that they come from. This may be positive characteristics, and this may be negative characteristics. It gives you some idea. Black Americans don't have tribes. So then it becomes very difficult to distinguish them from each other. Besides accents, okay, because, you know, those in the South may have different accents, okay, but it becomes very difficult to distinguish them from each other because they are not the same. If that makes sense, they are not the same. But because they don't have tribes and they're all just Black, okay, it's very hard to the process of elimination is very hard because I know from the African continent, there are some people who say, I will never ever marry somebody from this particular tribe. There are people who say that because, like I said, certain tribes have got certain characteristics. Okay. So when you marry somebody who doesn't come from any tribe, it makes it kind of difficult to know what to expect. Because, I mean, also culturally, Africans and Black Americans are very, very different. I mean, yes, there is similarities amongst us, but for the most part, I think culturally, we are more different than we are the same. And that's fine. I mean, that's fine. But we different.
About that Black woman who evacuated and literally saved her and her entire family from being caught up in that Texas flood? Despite there being no alerts, being no warnings, she noticed that that fucking river was rising and she said, we gonna get the fuck up out of here. Her name is Lucretia Bates, right? Her and her family, they were camping literally just 1 mile from the devastation that took place in Guadalupe River. And she noticed that the river was actually starting to rise. And she said, yo, bae, look at this. He said, all right, they got the kids together. She saw that people were still trying to go tubing and do all of these water activities despite seeing that it was rising. And she honestly couldn't believe it. But she said, me and my family, we about to get the fuck on, right? So they go to the place because I guess, it's like a check-in spot, whatever. And they tell, front desk, listen, we're checking out. They were supposed to stay an extra night. And she tells them, listen, we're checking out. Her husband tells them we're checking out. And they're like, really? Why? Kinda. And she's like, yeah, no, we're just going to head out. And then they have the nerve to lean into her husband and tell him, listen, we're actually thinking of evacuating. We're thinking of evacuating. Sis said thinking. You're thinking? Fuck is you thinking for? You need to get these people out of here. Sis ain't waste no time. She said, y'all could think all y'all want to. I'm going to get the fuck on. Me and mines, we're going to be good. And that's in fact what happened. It was because of that fast thinking, her actually listening to her intuition, her and her family is safe. Listen, we are talking about a woman, so that's woman's intuition, a Black woman, so that's Black women intuition, and a mother. That's three different type of intuitions right there. She was not staying. With a name like Lucretia, she definitely used her Black card. Who the fuck is fighting with nature? Who is fighting with nature? I gotta go. I gotta fucking go. And definitely still a deep and genuine condolences to all of the lives lost, all of the families who are impacted by this flood. Honestly, I really do wish the best for you all. But Lucretia made sure she Still, I want to issue my deepest and sincerest condolences to all of the lives lost, all of the families that are impacted by the floods. Honest to God, it truly is a devastating time for the people in Texas, and I really do hope that they pull through.
Have you seen all of that video? Have you seen all of that video? Are you a Black American person? Are you a Black American woman? Are you a Black American guy? Are you those foundational Black Americans? You guys are the best. I understand the pains that a lot of what you give out, you don't get to receive as much as that. I understand the fact that a lot of people don't get to appreciate you guys as much as you guys deserve. But this is the honest truth. In as much as a lot of people do not want to acknowledge the fact that you guys are the sweetest, you guys are good, you guys are the people that is making a lot of people stand out today, some of us cannot just say no. Some of us cannot just keep quiet without appreciating you guys. I know I've been saying it on different of my videos that I have an Black American dad and Black American mom that adopted me all the way from TikTok. These two guys adopted me as their own, took care of me as their own, despite the fact that we've not seen before. We have never met one-on-one. I call him dad. He calls me princess. He calls me daughter. Like, it's to that point. Then this my Black American mom. Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't even want to start during my wedding what she did for me. I don't even want to start how she usually do check up on me back to back, even till dates. till date. She always keep telling me that I can't just wait for you to just come to United States. I can't just wait for you to come to the States. If not because of a lot of my hands are full right now, my schools and other things that is actually limiting me. Like I have an American mom and dad that has gotten to that point that they will tell me that come to the US. These are people we've not seen before. She has communicated with my mom. She has communicated with my dad. Like they are communicated with my husband. See, you guys, Black Americans, to as much as you guys that watch this particular video, I want you guys to know that we appreciate you, especially we the Africans. You guys have really come true for us. Yeah. Despite the backbiting, despite after everything that you guys have done for us, you guys will just still ended up maybe having the wrong people, not appreciating you guys. See, Black Americans, I don't know what else to say, but I just want to tell you guys that just keep doing what you know how to do best. Do not stop. Do not stop. It will not change your personality. You understand? I believe strongly that every single thing you're fighting for will come to pass. I am also a product of Black American woman, and I am so grateful. These are just few clips that I have to even show you guys. There are a lot of clips that a lot of people have been able to talk about how Black Americans, immigrants especially, has personally saved them, has personally come true for them, has personally show out in terms of their worries, in terms of their pains, and so on and so forth. And you guys think we're taking you guys for granted? Some of us do not. Some might be taking you guys for granted. But people like me, I do not take you guys for granted. I cherish, I love, and I value you all as my friends, as my own persons, as my Black Americans. Mwah. You guys understand what I'm trying to say, right? Anyways, if you are watching this video, let me know your experience with a Black American person. If you're a Black American, let me know what you think about this video as well. This video is for educational purpose. Credit belongs to the original creators of this video. And every stitches and clips you see in our today's episode, credit belongs to them, right? Educational purpose. Let me keep repeating myself. I stand a chance to be corrected where you think I'm wrong. And yes, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos. I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. I love you so much, Black Americans. Bye.